Last night, my cat tried to kill me and added insult to injury to irony. Time was 3 a.m. I awoke to the sound of what I can only describe as what seemed to be multiple intruders. Approximately 16 mini explosions, all happening somewhere downstairs. First 5 awoke me, the next 5 confused me, the third 5 terrified me, and the final one just convinced me that this was indeed the end of Dylan. Obviously, I went into full-on protect my family mode, and I grabbed the nearest thing to me for self-defense. Just so happened to be the pink version of this knockoff Stanley Cup, and headed downstairs to what I assumed at this point was my inevitable doom and demise in the midst of spooky season. What was I going to do with the pink version of this knockoff Stanley Cup? I don't frankly know, but in my head, that was a problem for the ironically named living room Dylan. Mind you, at this point, it is approximately 3:05 in the morning. As many of you know, I am the only one awake because my entire family could sleep through the coming of the crypt. At this point, at about 3:06 a.m., I'm convinced has now arrived. I get off the last step, turn the corner towards the kitchen, and see almost immediately the carnage of the explosions. Last night, my kids had reminded me that 6.5 months ago, I made a promise. That promise was to play at least 5 of their favorite games from the hit television show Bluey, and that all 5 of them I had apparently promised would occur on a Friday morning. Since I have work today, thank you very much, I decided that instead I would prepare the night before for what was supposed to be today's game of Keepy Uppy. Because I'm extra and excessive, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go big. This bag used to be filled all the way to the top, and then last night I decided to plan ahead, and I filled up approximately, I would guess, 16 balloons. As I did not want the dogs to get them and pop them in the middle of the night, I decided I'm gonna put them on the counter. As the dogs can't reach the counter is accurate, except you know who can reach the counter? Suspect number 1, Kitty. Hello, Kitty. Apparently, at some point between 2:58 a.m. and 3:04 a.m., Kitty decided, I don't want these balloons here anymore. And you know what? I don't want these balloons at all. By now, you're probably wondering, well, that is both spooky and mildly satanic, but how did that cause this? At approximately 3:09 a.m., after finally figuring out my Kitty culprit, ready to go back upstairs. And all of a sudden, I am awoken by the explosion of a 17th balloon, followed immediately by the loudest and most high-pitched scream I have ever heard in my life. Apparently, it was indeed the coming of the crypt, because my wife did wake up, and she did come downstairs to maybe check on me. She reached the bottom of the stairs and somehow stepped on another balloon. Mind you, at this point, I think the destruction is over, and I am certainly unprepared for both the sound of a popping balloon and the sound of a woman shrieking. I start screaming. Somewhere in that melee, I stumble back. Unbeknownst to me, the cat criminal was also startled and scared by the shrieking. Must have very quickly jumped off of the counter right behind my feet. I trip over the cat and fall, face first, onto her. Of course, just so happened to have her arm sticking straight up. Cruelest twist of irony upon reaching for a Band-Aid. Of course, we only have Hello Kitty Band-Aids.